Okay, and we're recording. And Barry, you should be able to. Are you able to open your video?
No. No.
There you go. You should be able to start your video now. Terrific. There you go. Had you? I lost you. There you are.
Okay.
There we go. And I think it's going to be the two of us on video. So slide this over here. Mr. Foster. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning.
I've unmuted you guys. This is a question and answer open mic, so we better give you access to your microphones.
Can you hear me?
I can. Yes, John. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. How you
John,
doing?
John, this is Barry. That's a very distinctive black and white picture of you.
I can't. Oh, there's my picture. Okay, let me figure out how to change the video.
You may not be able to in a webinar.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
All right.
We're going
Just
to
us girls.
we're going to wait and see. We have Roy Pelicano is on, and Jack Heil has just joined us. Good morning, Jack. It's going to be a pretty tight group this morning, guys, so we'll be able to answer your questions. We have a much tighter registration, which is good. So we'll give it a couple more minutes for, we did have over a dozen people registered the last time I looked yesterday. And so we'll give them a chance to, here's Stephen White. All right, guys, I'm clicking the allow to talk button, and just, we're gonna have a good conversation here. And one more minute. There's Jack. Good morning, Jack.
Hey, George, good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to be seen. Since we did this, since we did the test drive last week, I actually went down with COVID. So I started having symptoms the afternoon after our test drive, and here we are. It sounds horrible. It's just like a bad cold. So I'm sure some of you have been through it, I'm sure.
George and Barry, I apologize in advance. I have a 11:20, so I'm going to hang as long as I can. Then I've got to bail.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and here's Ray Mckenzie. Hey, good morning, Ray. How are you?
All right. Good morning, George. How are you doing? Long time no talk.
Yeah, I know it's been a long time. It's good to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Definitely. Thank you for inviting me.
So guys, with webinars, you typically get somewhere between half and 2/3 of the attendees. Ed Wonky has joined us. Of the registrants, we had 12 registrants for this Q&A. We had a heck of a lot more for the test drive. We had great attendance. So what we're going to do is go ahead and start. I'm going to minimize the attendees. I'll keep an eye on it. Sarah, if you could keep an eye on it also. And if you're able to give people, unmute people in the, so guys, this is an open mic. It's your opportunity to ask us questions about business advisor peer groups, what, why, how, and questions that came out of the test drive. Some of you were not able to join us for the test drive, which is great. So let me explain a little bit of the process. I'm joined today by Barry Goodman. Barry is an extremely experienced, 30+ years of experience as a business advisor. He started and grew a very successful CPA firm, and is a credentialed exit planner and an all around good guy. Barry, you want to say a couple of words before we move into the transition?
Sure. I spent about 35 plus or minus years in public accounting, and retired from my firm in 2014. Started a consulting business, Brookdale Transition Partners, to focus on helping closely held businesses and family held businesses transition and figure out what's next for them, and grow value in as they're doing that, and give them some options on what's next in their life. A lot of family discord in that process makes it quite an interesting business.
Yeah, and Barry's Barry's vast experience running chapters for associations, running a firm, being an advisor, being down in the trenches. Barry is a tremendous resource, and Barry is the group leader for our business advisor peer groups. So guys, with every meeting, every peer group meeting starts with a transition into the meeting. And that transition is typically, just give your name, and on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you? For example, this morning, I'm a 4.95. There's always room for improvement, but I am fired up. I'm a 4.5 and one word description, and I'll actually just use fired up. That's 2 words. So we're going to go around the room, and if you can unmute yourself and just say on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you as a number? And personally, professionally, doesn't matter, you pick, and one word description of your mindset. So I'm going to probably easiest if I pass it around the room. I'll start with Ed. Good morning, Ed. You're top of the list. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Let's see. I'm probably a 4. The description of my mindset right now is anxiously awaiting. I've got a lot of work that I have proposed, and we're waiting to get followed through. Everybody took yesterday off, and nobody finished up anything last week. So this week, I'm hoping to see at least 2 projects that I proposed on come to fruition.
Cool. Excellent, Ed. Jack Heil, one number and one word description.
Well, I don't know. I'll go ahead and say a 4. And grateful is my 1 word description.
Excellent. Excellent. John Foster.
4, enthused about 2021, 2020, 2022.
2022. Yeah, I know. It's hard. I'm tempted to start writing that. And all right, perfect, John. Jack, how about you?
I would say, let's say a 3. I'm anxious. I'm more on the front lines now. I used to be a director of advanced sales and business planning for our agency, and now on the front lines more. So excited and then anxious at the same time.
Excellent. Excellent. Nervous energy. Fantastic. Ray Mckenzie.
All right. Good morning, Ray Mckenzie. Based in Redondo Beach, California, on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm probably a 4.75. Just got out the gym, so rocking and rolling on the West Coast. 1 word description of mindset. I'd say determined. We're coming back from the holiday and trying to get some things and pumped out. So let's get it done.
Excellent. Okay, Ray, I'm glad you're able to join us. Roy Pelicano.
Morning, everyone. I would say I'm about a 3, which I don't see as a negative thing, but I am definitely slogging through the molasses. Positively, but still slogging.
It's still slugging. Hey, it's good to have molasses to slog through, right? And Stephen White.
I can hit the mute button quick enough. I am a 4, and the word is focus.
Focused. I like it. Excellent. All right, gentlemen, it's all gentlemen on this call today. So with that, that sets our mindset. We understand where each other are. I'd like to take a moment and just recap for those of you who are not in the original meeting. What happens? What is a business advisor peer group? And in a nutshell, it is a peer-to-peer council of 10 to 12 non-competing professionals. We're drawing on management consultants, CPA business advisors, certified financial planners and exit planners, M&A professionals, and fractional CFOs principally. And it's a once-a-month meeting with a set agenda. So the content changes every month, but like any good meeting, the agenda is a standing agenda. It's 2.5 hours. Confidential environment. This is going to be done virtually. And one of the powerful things, when I say non-competing, there may be 2 M&A professionals in the group, for example, but not from the same market. So what we want to do is we are creating groups. And guys, we already have people signing up. So it's already a terrific the core of the group is already terrific, that represents the advisors who are around the table helping a business owner. And imagine if, as you build your practice, as you develop new products and services, as you work in your client engagements, if you are able to tap into and inside the circle of trust, tap in with the same women and men every week, every month, into their perspective. How powerful would that be for your practice? And these are going to be facilitated by Barry Goodman, as we said, and it's all of it's completely confidential under NDA, and it has an excellent value. It's $375 a month with 100% satisfaction guarantee, meaning if after your first meeting you say, actually, this isn't for me, we'll part friends. Okay. Barry, anything you'd like to add there?
No, no, I have nothing else to add. You did a job.
Okay, terrific. And in this process, we use the methodology that was developed by Tina Corner-Stoltz. She has been in the Mastermind Peer Group business model. She's a fantastic moderator. That's most of her career. And that's the LX Council, Leadership Exchange Council is the name of her company. We license their methodology, and it's built around the COPE. And a COPE is a challenge, an opportunity, a problem, or an idea with which you would like some help, feedback from the group. Okay, so every meeting you will have the opportunity to present your own COPE. It can be a struggle, an opportunity, something to celebrate, and be able to help your peers with their COPE, with their challenge, opportunity, problem, or idea. It's incredibly powerful, guys. I'm in a group. I know a couple of you on the call are in groups. It is the light bulb went off in I think my second meeting. It's incredibly helpful to me as I run these two businesses, and we're offering these. We've decided to add this service because you guys have been asking for it. Okay, so it's a question and answer format. So we make sure we drill down to the real issue. Sometimes the issue that we first identify isn't the actual issue. Drill down to get to the real issue with questions, and then present ideas, suggestions. And there's accountability in the group for yourself, to the group, and of the group to you. So with that summary, if anybody, we're gonna jump in. We'll open up the mic.
Yeah, I have a
So,
question, George.
please, John.
This is John, and it's for Barry. Barry, thanks for taking the lead on this with George's involvement. What is your vision for this group?
That's a good question, John. The vision for the group is to put together 10 or 12 people that can really become integral to each other and important to each other. Drawing on my past experience of being in a group for about 10 to 15 years when I was running the accounting practice, we would all bring different, what we call copies in this case, to the group, and it was so beneficial, and it helped me work through some critical issues and run my practice and run the firm better. And that's what my vision is, that each participant will be able to operate better individually because they're part of more than one. In other words, we can all do better if we are not doing things alone. And that to me is really a vision and a mission of this group.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, John. It's not going to surprise you that coincides with our vision and mission to help each of you build a thriving practice. And I think that the peer groups are a game changer. It's a well-established, proven success model. Next question.
What is the, George, what is the exit? Let's say you like it for 4 months, but then it's not doing what you want it to do, or you've been distracted elsewhere. What's the exit obligation?
Yeah, we ask for 90 days notice so that we can replace you. You know, we stop recruiting for the group. So we ask for 90 days notice.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Certainly. Thanks, Jack.
Jack, if I can also respond to your question, if let's say after at the end of 4 months, you find that it's not for you, before then, I would hope that we would have some discussion to see if there's some things that are missing, some things that are not going in the direction that you anticipated, because perhaps you have some better ideas or some ideas that can make the group better. Because it's critical that we have that open communication to always do better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For me, it's I'm always impressed with the firepower that George and everyone brings to the table, and I always feel like I'm less than. And my results kind of show that. I don't know if I'm just a dyed-in-the-wool CPA that can't break into the consulting, but it's always a challenge for me. And even when I get that opportunity, so I was trying to think, would this group be able to help me break that pattern that I have, that I create, not what George provides or any of the other people. So I don't know if that helps you understand where I'm coming from.
Well, Jack, it does. And to that extent, I experienced that myself. So not to toot my own horn, there is some background that you have in these groups, and this is not the first time in putting the group together that we've experienced that question, because it is sometimes a paradigm shift, and to have that support for any change, I have found in my career that support is critical. And we can discuss that further if you'd like.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Next question.
With the 2.5 hour plan for conversation, is there any semblance of giving something to the time of the day that might be planned for? All of the one person on the West Coast, he just finished his exercise. He probably won't be able to come prepared well to engage adequately in a discussion. I'm concerned, what time of the day would we primarily want to run these meetings?
Well, the advantage of the first group of the first attending the first meeting, which is next week, we will, as a group, will decide what time of the day and what day of the week is appropriate for all the people in the group, because we want to be able to accommodate everybody, and we want to be able to have good participation. So, because one of the caveats is that you need to be able to attend meetings, because you get out of this whatever you put into it, like anything else. So we'll be able to decide as a group what time of day and what day of the week would be most appropriate. Because there are, we realize we're doing this virtual, and there are those time differences.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I have, guys, it is virtual, but we are looking at, and it's something we'd like to discuss, also with the group, is getting together face to face. There are 2 conferences every year that Core Value and Growth Drive hosts, on joint conferences, and being able to get together face to face and having a face to face meeting at one of those conferences, which doesn't obligate you to come to the conference, but if you wanted a face to face opportunity, a couple of times a year, that's something. Hey, Barry, I have a question for you. Could you outline for the group the onboarding and the quarterly components of the program?
Sure. The onboarding consists of understanding what some of your restrictions are. There's a format to do that. Also, we do a DISC assessment, which is a sort of a behavioral assessment. Not sort of, it is a behavioral assessment, but it really helps you to understand, others to understand how to communicate. It's really great to have in your own business. And when I did mine, it was like, oh my gosh, it's spot on with my behaviors. And in fact, I shared some of the things with my wife, and we've been married a long time, and she says, you know, that's exactly how you behave. Behave when you get triggered, or behave when you're just communicating. That's part of it. And the quarterly strategy session, where we talk about, just check in on where you're at with your quarterly goals, you know, how you're progressing, what's standing in the way, and that develops into coping. But there's it's a quarterly check-in to be able to understand.
Terrific. Yeah, the strategic component of this is powerful. So, okay, other questions, guys?
Well, I have a question for everybody. You know, everybody on the call is, you know, what would your expectation be from a peer group based on what you know today?
This is Ray. I would suspect kind of what I would expect from a peer group of some sort would be, one, you know, identification of challenges for everyone, and then ongoing tracking of those challenges for the next 4 to 6 weeks, perhaps. So that at the end of maybe 4, 6, 8 weeks and the meetings that are ensuing, you have some sort of goal management, performance management, you know, check-ins with where people are performing or how things are going with their challenges, or is it beneficial, or do things need to change? I think that's kind of where it would start for me, which is, you know, the accountability factor, in making sure that, you know, one, everybody in the group, obviously we're going to have our challenges, but then having our challenges, we keep ourselves accountable, and then measuring and tracking that. I think that's a big benefit to any of the peer groups that I've been a part of.
Great. So, George, can you go back to the slide that talks about the coping?
Yes.
Okay, this is you know, processing a copy is one of the central parts of every meeting. And when we do and it comes from a couple things. One, you come prepared with a copy. But two, oftentimes when we do the check-in, like we did on this call, and find out where you're at, that oftentimes will develop into a coping, which is a challenge, opportunity, problem, or idea. And Ray, to answer your question, after the copy is presented, and after, you know, we're describing the situation, you know, why it's important and so forth, and getting questions, at following meetings, because we meet once a month, at every meeting, we'll ask for updates of of how that individual did, how that member did with the feedback that they received. And if they didn't do anything, well, they're challenged as to why. And if they did something, you know, what was the result? And so that we can keep people accountable for following through on what their challenges, opportunities, problems, or ideas are.
Yeah, you're accountable to the group because everyone's investing time.
Right. Because we're investing time within the meeting and others may have copies. So we really try to keep people accountable.
And what's interesting is relatively quickly on that accountability and you'll find yourself reaching out outside of the formal meeting. You know, Ray, you and I might, I might contact you and say, hey, I've been thinking about that challenge you have. Have you considered? And we might do, you end up very quickly sidebarring with members of the group, and then coming back and bringing it back into the plenary session at the following meeting.
And it also doesn't mean that we're not in communication in between meetings. You can always pick up the phone and call a member and get some feedback at that point in time. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Ray.
Barry, answering your question, I just wrote down a few thoughts myself. I would love to improve as a consultant. I'd like to gain access to expertise, and I'd also like to fine tune my processes in my practice. And so those would be the kind of things that if I felt there was a possible assist towards that would interest me in moving forward.
Well, and you'll receive that again, Jack, from the COPE process. And that becomes important because they'll ask you questions, they'll come back with suggestions. So yes, that will, those items you mentioned will be addressed, but it'll be addressed through the COPE process. And if there's additional conversations that need to take place, well, they can also take place.
Absolutely. Jack, you just hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what you will, the benefit that you will get from participating in the group. It's interesting in talking to several people about potentially joining the group. In fact, two people who have signed up. They, for example, were thinking about marketing. And, will the group talk about marketing? I said, you can talk about anything you want. If marketing is your challenge, then put it in as a copy, and let's hear from 11 other pros what they're doing to generate, to increase the strength of their brand, to bring in new engagements, to collaborate with their centers of influence, with other people in the group, et cetera, to help win new engagements. And, the sky's the limit on what can be discussed, tackled, and collectively worked into solutions.
Right. Thank you.
Sure. Great question. About 5 minutes remaining. Any other questions, guys? If there aren't any other questions, Barry, anything you wanted to add? Because I'd like to go around the room and see if we get some key takeaways.
No, I think we had some good interaction and they were spot on with the purpose and the goals and objectives and vision of what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna Haliburta has joined us. Hi, Anna. I just opened your microphone.
Good afternoon or good morning, George. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. You haven't had an opportunity to, I'm thrilled that you're here. You haven't had an opportunity to ask any questions.
I do apologize for my tardiness here, George. It seems this is the earliest I've been late all day, but I'm still too late with 5 minutes left. I do apologize.
No problem. Do you have any questions about business advisor peer groups, how they're structured, how they can help you?
The one thing I will say, George, is that I was part of a peer group several years ago for specifically CPAs. And let's say the monthly fee cost was substantially greater than what you are charging for here, but they talked about many of the same things that you've talked about. So this is a wonderful opportunity for people who aren't in a mastermind group, haven't been in a mastermind group. So the peer group to me is kind of like a mastermind group of forward thinkers and people that want to move their businesses, their practices along in the direction that they want it to go. And with all of the tools that core value has, if they do it on themselves, they'll see oftentimes what they need a bit of shoring up on. And so I think this is right time, right place, right thing to do.
Yeah, fantastic, Anna. Yeah, Anna, yes. I won't recap what you just said. You just said it very well. Thank you. So for those of you who don't know Anna, she's a good friend, as many of you are, and is a CPA, is a growth advisor, is an exit planner, and does a lot of has a business called Be Ready. Yeah, Anna, I value your input. Thank you. So guys, we're at the bottom of the hour. 30 minutes goes very quickly. I'm wondering if we can go around the room and just ask you for one key takeaway from our conversation today. And you can hit us up with questions by email or pick up the phone and call. And we're happy to help, because the next step would be to schedule an interview to get to know Barry a bit more, and for Barry to get to know about you, make sure there's a good fit, and that this is going to be something we really want people to join the group, and we're committed to finding people to bring into the group who are in it for the long haul, and where there's going to be a very good fit. Okay, so the best way to do that is to have a candid interview. We'll schedule that with Barry, confirm synergies between you, Barry, and the group, and then decide on the best path forward for you. So there's the contact information. I think you all know how to get hold of us. I'd love to go around and just take, if you just have one sentence key takeaway. I know, Anna, you just joined, but you're top of my list. You have one key takeaway from today?
When there is an opportunity and you decide not to take it, then you're deciding on doing the same things that you've been doing, and you're not going to move forward. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you. Ed, and by the way, guys, every meeting closes with one key takeaway. That's a component of winding up the meeting. Ed, one key takeaway?
As a standalone practitioner, probably it's an opportunity to put a little bit more organization to my activities, as opposed to being driven solely by personal motivation.
Terrific. Jack Hyle.
Collaboration and insight. I think it's an interesting and intriguing offering that I would like to explore further.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Jack. Ray Mckenzie.
All right, I'd say different perspectives through experience can be extremely helpful for growth.
Yeah,
that's kind of it.
Yeah, terrific. Thanks, Ray. And 303, is that you, Anna, or is that a different dial-in?
No, the 303 is one of mine, but I think that's a separate dial-in.
Okay. Great. Well, then we've been around the horn here. I know people had to drop off at the bottom of the hour. So with that, guys, we'll be contacting each of you, and I'm looking forward to next steps. So thank you very much. And with that, Barry, any closing thoughts?
No, I think we're in good shape, George.
You're muted.
We heard him.
Oh, okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap up the meeting. Thank you very much. And we will circle around with each of you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you,
Great,
Jack.
thanks.
Bye, Ed.
Bye.
Bye, Anna.